Welcome back to Shamrock Fresh. I'm Chris Casson, and this week's focus is going to be specialty products. So we're going to look at some of the oils, we're going to look at some sherries, we're going to look at some finishing syrups, as well as some all-natural sweeteners, and then finish up with some fun sea salts. So let's take a look at some of these products. So the first two items we're going to look at here, these are both finishing oils. They are extra virgin olive oils, and they are both Italian. We have a Toscano here, and this is actually a USDA certified organic extra virgin olive oil, and you can see the difference in the colors in both of these. The one that is organic here is a much lighter olive oil. It's a little bit more mild in flavor, still does have that definite extra virgin olive oil flavor, but on this side we have a much darker one, and this is extremely grassy, very earthy in flavor, but both great finishing olive oils, definitely not a table oil. It's something that you would want to either finish some of your dishes with a drizzle or offer as a specialty item to your table. So the next item we're going to look at here are some sweeteners. We've got our agave nectars, both amber and light. You can see the color difference here in the samples we have in front of you. These are 100% certified USDA organic. They are also a Colorado Proud item. They're packaged up in Lions. And these actually come in gallon containers. What we're showing you here is the retail, but you can see they have the consistency of almost like a honey, and these would be great in margaritas, different mixed drinks, even vinaigrettes. And then if you want something a little bit thicker, this is a pure cane syrup. This is Lyle's Golden Syrup, also comes in the gallon containers, and you can see the consistency's a little bit thicker. This would be great for baking, also in some of the vinaigrettes and just ways to sweeten things, versus say a corn syrup or a high fructose type product. Moving on to some of the vinegars. These are two great vinegars. We have a raspberry vinegar and our sherry vinegar that's aged in the oak barrels. You can see the color difference here just in the samples we have. The raspberry has that lightly red hue to it, where the sherry is typical of a sherry vinegar. And sherry vinegar, great in, say, gazpachos or just making your vinaigrette. And then if you want something a little bit nicer, this is our Pedro Jimenez Gran Reserva 25. This is from the Pedro Jimenez grapes grown down in southern Spain, and it is still aged in an oak barrel. This is more of a finishing vinegar. You can see it's much darker in color. It's also going to have a much deeper, more enhanced flavor, but you could finish a vinaigrette with it, or you could just utilize it as more of a finishing vinegar over the top of salad or fresh seafood, something of that nature. Now, if you're into syrups or glazes for plate decoration, or even utilizing on top of proteins to help caramelize them to give them a little bit different flavor, we've got the traditional balsamic glaze. And the one thing that's different about this is that it is a true balsamic glaze. It's not loaded with a lot of sugars and things like that. So you really get that flavor as you would if you were reducing your own. And then sherry vinegar glaze, so something a little bit more unique. And what's nice about this is, you know, everybody's used to the traditional balsamic. This just kind of gives you that different flavor, much like what you would get out of the sherry over here, but in a syrup form. And you can see both of these come in a flip-top bottle, and they both have the consistency that you're able to just use them as is right out of the container they come in. And finally, moving on to the sea salts. These are both low-cost sea salts you could utilize in your kitchen for seasoning. Obviously, our coarse sea salt, which you can see is coarse, and then our fine sea salt, which is more like an iodized salt, but gives you that little bit cleaner flavor versus saying using a kosher or an iodized salt in your kitchen. And then if you want something more for plate presentation and finishing, Shamrock carries these individual 1-pounders of pink Himalayan, Hawaiian red. We also do a black cypress as well as a smoked sea salt. And you can buy these in the 1-pounders like you see here. So what you've seen here is just a small sampling of what Shamrock carries in the way of specialty products. You can ask your sales rep for one of these catalogs, which will break it all out by cheeses, truffles, desserts, vinegars, oils, and it has all the regions listed in there as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's version of Shamrock Fresh, and we'll see you again soon.